Well, damn, that was a terrible introduction. I ended up hitting my, well, whatever. Welcome out, everybody, to the breakdown and decode of Terrence Desmond Howard. Born on March 11th, 1969. I'm going to break down his astrological chart. And I will show all of you that Terrence Howard is not in control of his life, just like you're not in control of your life, just like I'm not in control of my life. And that's my truth. You don't have to agree with that. Some of you won't. That's totally fine. Again, I'm not here to force anything on you. My job as a tour guide is to show you how this reality works. I don't really care what you do with it. Your opinion, just like mine, is meaningless. I'm here to empower you. And the way to empower you is to tell you that you're inside of a movie. That's why I'm wearing the sunglasses. I'm not wearing them to look cool. I'm wearing them to remind you that you're inside of a movie. This is a movie that was already written. We're just the actors playing out our roles. You don't need a screenplay and a script. You're just living it out. And the voice in your head is what runs you. And the voice in Terrence's head is what's running him. He doesn't get a hall pass. I've gone through some of the comments. I've gone through a lot of the commentary. I see a lot of references to shill, and I don't really understand. I'm not in congruency with that language anymore because I don't consider anything a shill because everybody's being used. My foundation is that everybody is being used and there's no such thing as a shill. Everybody's doing their job. So not everybody that incarnates into this reality incarnates to be the good character or the bad character. Not everybody incarnates to satisfy your means. Some people incarnate and they're disruptors. They don't just go along with the norm, the social norms. There are game changers that come into this reality. But rest assured, the code, the decoding that I've been doing for well over a decade now shows that mankind is not in control of this reality, and it goes all the way to the top, which means that all the religions, all the organizations, all the governments, all the secret societies, they are all being ruled over by energies that I can't describe to you. I don't know. We can name it, we can give it titles, but there's really so many branches that we can go down. But the research shows that mankind is being used. That's it. So just the message here, folks, let me just take these off, is to just have fun with your life. That's it. Just enjoy the ride. And if you know how magic works, see, right now Terrence Howard is getting a shitload of energy from everybody reposting, talking about, hey, did you hear about Terrence? Every time you say Terrence, every time you think about Terrence, Terrence is getting your energy. So if you think he's a shill, well, he's getting your energy whether you think he's a shill or not. What you think about me, like when you think, oh, Logan's an asshole, you're giving me energy, so I'll take it. Totally cool. I love my haters. It's all energy at the end of the day. So people say, oh, he's an agent. See, what I think is really funny is people love to just spew out these titles, and they like to spew out these narratives, and they have no support, just an opinion, which doesn't really go very far. So if we are to understand how magic works, magic is, again, just the transference of energy, and Terrence is getting a lot of it right now, and he's going to use it to do whatever he's doing on the world stage. I went through the patents. I went through, there's a lot of regurgitation of, oh, he patented the virtual reality. I have found no evidence of that. So there's just people reposting because it looks good, it sounds good. Oh, wow, he does it. And I'm not saying it's not true, but I haven't found any evidence of it. The patents he has, I think he's got about 10 or 12 patents. And yes, he has patents on sacred geometry in that sense. And Terrence's really big thing is the DNA, the RNA, and of course the sacred geometry and getting out of the platonic solids, the straight lines getting into the curved lines. As he says, nature doesn't have straight lines, which I totally agree with. The one thing I can't wrap my mind around is how Terrence Howard has come to the conclusion that 1 times 1 equals 2. I haven't been able to figure that out because 2 times 3 is still 6. 1 times 2 is still 2. Haven't figured that out yet. So he is definitely throwing out some things that I'm lost, but I'm not going to dismiss it, but I need support. Maybe he's being a little bit standoffish. Maybe he doesn't want to release it because it's important information and he's afraid to release. I don't know. I'm speculating, but it'll be interesting to see what he has to put out on the world stage as we move forward. And I'm going to show you his astrological chart. I'm going to show you why he's doing all this stuff, because he can't help it. He's doing his job. It's like I'm doing a decode on Joel Osteen, another guy. You can call that guy. He's this, he's that. You don't know him. Unless you know who Joel Osteen is and your friends, or you got somebody that's really close, because all these people, oh, he's doing this and he's doing that. How, you got support of that? No, you're just a regurgitator. You're just a gossiper. That's it. So, but I'm going to show you what Joel Osteen, he is also being used in a very big way. He has a big role in this reality. And his job is designed to get people to join his archetype. Now Terrence Howard comes on the scene, and that is exactly his job as well. But remember, the foundation that I'm going to talk about here with all of you is mankind, including Terrence Howard, including myself, including you. You're not in control of your reality, so you're just along for the ride. Terrence Howard, yeah, he's living through the ideas, but the ideas are coming. Like he says, I had a vision. Well, I'm going to show you what the vision is. It's tied right to his numerology. So the numbers, to me as a decoder, these start to speak their truths, and you have to be a decoder to look at this, because there are a lot of words in the English language, in the other languages, that equal the same thing. So we need to branch off, and I'm going to show you those methodologies. Okay, I'm going to show you all that kind of stuff. All right, so let me just pop this chat out here and get this in my center screen. I'll be coming back to this here, and I'll be taking a look at some of your comments. Okay, so today, just want to let you know, today is the 7 of Clubs day, which is card number 20, which is the card of duality. Duality equals 20 in numerology. 20 is the element calcium. I'll be referencing the periodic table like I do so much. Periodic table is really where it's at. Terrence Howard, of course, is a huge fan of the this is why I'm doing this decode. I want to also digress and give a big shout out to all my Patreon members for supporting this great research. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I also want to give a big shout out to, I can't even count how many people have sent me the Terrence Howard video, the Joe Rogan interview. I can't even count. So I'm like, okay. And it was just so crazy because, again, I'm being used. And as I was decoding, I got sent all this stuff. I was decoding RNA at the same time as this stuff gets sent to me. I don't really watch the mainstream. So the only reason why I got to do this decode is because someone sent it to me. So thank you very much to all of you that did send it to me, because you're part of this decode as I go through this. Okay, so today the 7 of Clubs, and again, this is the 20th card in the deck tied to calcium. Calcium is our bones and teeth. 99% of our calcium, from what I've researched, is in the bones and teeth, and the bones and teeth are what supports your bag of bones. I mean, supports your skeleton, your biological body. And it's interesting because the last decode I had called Holy Shit, that's what we all are, shit, right? Recycle, 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 shit, 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 shit. You're the shit, you're the shit, holy shit. It ends up becoming part of calcium because calcium is our bones and teeth. And of course, when the flesh melts away, then the bones and teeth, they disintegrate and they go back into the ground as dust. You will return back, and every single one of us return back to the ground in some way, some shape, or some form. So that's what I wanted to start off with. And I just really want to also let all of you know, again, is that, you see, this is what you are right here. Oh, hold on, I got to change this. Hang on a second. Okay. So all of you are this, the star card, including Terrence Howard. It's funny because Terrence Howard is an actor on the world stage. He gave it up. I don't remember what it was, the story was. He gave it up, retired, and now he's going into, the quantum realm, if you will. Well, as fate would have it, because we're going into this virtual world. Hello, all lining up that way. But he was an actor, and the word actor is 17. This is the 17th card in the tarot. See how beautiful the tarot is, tied with numerology? 17. 17 is the 7th prime number. We have 7 chakras, and 7 is the 4th prime number, and there are 4 blood types. It's so easy to see this once you have the memorization of these numbers through the primes, through mathematics. We can get into sine and cosine waves. We can get into... He's big into all this too, square roots and all that stuff. He's really big into it. So this is what I got for all of you. This presentation is all for you, decoders, so you can see exactly what's going on with this gentleman, how he's rolling in this reality, and maybe this will inspire you to start looking at your code and figure out what the hell you're doing here. Why are you here? What are you being used for? What's your purpose? What makes you tick? What gets you out of bed? Says, I can't wait to start my day. See, we're moving towards that, back towards that, like being able to do what your purpose is instead of punching in the clock and hating your job, hating your boss. I know that I'm not designed to do this. See, Terrence knew that acting was a dead end for him, and he's moved into being a scientist, if you will. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's jump into, let me just see where I'm at here. Okay. Yeah, somebody just posted a comment, Jane108, who I'm a huge fan of. And why the 108? Half of the 216, 108. You divide that by 2, you're going to get the 54. 54 is tied to the astrological map above, which is the great beast. 108 means you're on the silver screen because it's the weight of silver. Every time you see the element silver, which is the most electric element on the periodic table, you're on this. That's why Hollywood says it's the silver screen. Yeah, because you're in it. You're on it. This is a movie. And of course, the funny thing is Terrence was an actor. That's the funny thing. All right, so let me get my cursor out, and away we go. So, bada bing. Okay. So here we go, folks. I got a lot of slides. I have 54. That's funny, all right? I got 54 slides. Of course, I just said that. Didn't even know. 54. 54 is tied to phosphorus, which is tied to light. You're in a movie, okay? Luciferian is light. It's the movie. You don't like the movie? Well, then we can talk about how to get out of the movie. And the interesting part is that Terrence Howard, this is his spirit card, which is the 29th card in the deck, which is just coincidentally tied to the words holy shit. If you haven't seen my holy shit decode, I would definitely encourage it. It was the funniest decode I've ever done. It's hilarious. You know why? Because whatever created this reality, which runs all of us, is a stand-up comedian. And it's funny. And it likes to play jokes. And it's hilarious. So it's really interesting that Joe Rogan is born on August 11th and Terrence is born on March 11th. They're both 11s. And 11 is tied to the word justice card. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Joe Rogan's... Do you know Joe Rogan? No. But you just love going out and gossiping against people. This is what I hope is going to stop in the future, is when people stop gossiping and throwing shade at people, thinking they know what's up. When the whole truth is, what the research shows is, these people, you can, they're MIA, those organizations are not in control of this reality. So just keep going, keep going, keep going. And what you're going to come to is we live in a scripted, predestined reality, and it is a simulation because the simulation was already created and we're living through the simulation to come out the other end. Anyway, so I have the 3 of diamonds here because that is Terrence's spirit card, which is the apprentice. Okay, this is tied right to RNA. You see the single line right there. DNA's got 2. There's the single line. It's tied to the element copper, and copper's tied to non-player character, which is exactly what he is, as is this guy, as is I am, as is you are. And this is his birth card right here. Terrence's birth card is the Queen of Diamonds, a very powerful, very, very powerful card, because the Queen of Diamonds is the Queen of Pentacles, and this is all about money. This is why he struggled, and I don't even know it, but I know what the code says. He struggles with financial stuff because the Queen wants it all. And he's like, well, wait a minute. There's something more to my life other than money and materialism. There's spirituality going on here. There's mysticism going on here. And then he moves into the three of diamonds, which is more of the messenger. This is the card of the messenger, the apprentice. This is also, by the way, Donald John Trump's birth card. Now, you don't have to like the guy, right? If you can get non-emotionally involved with these people, and when I say their name, oh, I can't stand that guy, you haven't leveled up. You haven't become neutral to these players because they're not in control of their reality. So if you get bothered by somebody's character, you haven't graduated from a certain layer of your reality yet. You will, maybe. Maybe you will. But this is the starting point right here. So let's get into the methodologies, and we're going to talk about what I'm going to be utilizing for this presentation. And this is in no particular order. This is what I'm going to be combining for this breakdown of Terrence Howard. Okay, we're going to be using mathematics, the golden ratio and pi. This is the prison. Pi is the prison, which is Earth. I'm going to be talking about alchemy, the periodic table, because he's a huge proponent of it, as I am. I'm going to be using the science of numbers and numerology. We're inside of a movie. That's why 23andMe and the chromosomes is tied to the movie. We're going to be utilizing the tarot and the playing cards together. This is Terrence Howard's spirit card. He's the apprentice, the Three of Pentacles, and his birth card is the Queen of Diamonds. I'm going to be talking about some biology. We're going to get into the biology of RNA and DNA, which he talks about, which he's now reshaping with his schematics and his ways of doing things. I don't know how far it's going to go, folks, but that's what he's designed to do in a big way. I'm going to talk about some nature. I'm going to show you the sun's patterns, how they're tied into the DNA and RNA. And I'm also going to be breaking down Terrence's astrological map and showing you this right here is the great beast above. It's the heavenly realms. And this is what controls mankind in a very, very big way. This does. Okay, so these are the methodologies that I'm going to be utilizing and synchronizing and breaking down for this presentation. So let's start off simply by talking about Terrence and his birthday. He was born on March 11th, 1969. And these are the cards, again, that he was born with. And you're born with cards. And just like we play in a casino, or you play Go Fish or Gin Rummy, you're playing with the cards. Well, God plays with cards, which is us. The supernatural, whatever you think. I'm just using God as a reference because most of you know what that means. So he's got the Queen of Diamonds, card 38. And the word spirit guide is 38. This is the 38th card in the deck. The word spirit guide equals 38. And then he's got his Three of Diamonds, which is his spirit card. And then the Queen of Diamonds is the Queen of Pentacles. And this Queen, of course, is a very challenging, if you have this as your birth card, it's a very challenging layer of your life to live through because the Queen is the Queen of money. She wants it all. So, of course, that's the struggle with this. And it's in the Saturn line. He had all his cards up till the Neptune are all in the Saturn line. So Saturn is a very karmic layer to his reality that he has to live through. And his Saturn is in Pisces/Aries. And we're going to talk about that in his astrological stuff. What I wanted to show you here to support, as I say, mankind is being used. In 1962, the Manchurian Candidate movie came out. It was with Frank Sinatra. And then they redid it in 2004, one of my favorite movies with Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber. And it was about mind control. And this whole movie was about the Queen of Diamonds. The Queen is the Q, and that's the 17th letter. Remember, the star card is the 17th card. The letter Q is the 17. The Queen Bee, ruling over the hive. Okay? Ruling over the hive. And you could see that, like, this was the narrative for that movie. This is right off the movie poster. That it's ruling over and controlling through the voice in your head. And it's all tied to gold. Okay? It's all tied to gold because it's led to gold here. It's all about energy exchange. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's lead feeding the gold. And then they just circumvent and go right back around again. And it's about this 0 and 1 because we're in the binary system of black and white, on and off, peace and evil, hot and cold. That's why it says in Isaiah 45 verses 7 in theology, the God of that Bible says, I am creating peace and evil. I am creating the 0 and the 1, the binary system. I make it. I do it. And then you got to figure out what that means. But you can see that they equal the 38. You can see that one, you're the one, the Neo character, that's 17. That's the actor. And the world card is the 21st card in the deck. You got to go through the portal, the 0. The 1's got to go through the 0, and this makes up the golden ratio, the symbol of the golden ratio, which is the 23rd letter in the Greek alphabet. And 23 is tied to the word movie and blood and player. Okay? So this is what Terrence Howard's dealing with. And I would bet he doesn't even know it. But again, he's not just an exception. Every single one of you are up for this. How about this guy? Stephen Paddock. The worst mass shooting in the history of the U.S., the Route 91 Festival. Queen of Diamonds birth card. Manchurian candidate. How about this guy right here? MLK. Manchurian candidate. You think he was in control of his life? Not on your Nelly, as Bob Proctor would say. He got taken out. James Earl Ray was a king of diamonds. He got taken out by a king, and he got assassinated. Assassination is 38. This is the 38th card in the deck. Okay? He had no choice. I already broke down in my scripted reality part 2 the entire astrological map of Martin Luther King, showing that he wasn't in control of his life, and he was destined to get shot and killed. He was doing his job. Michael, Jesus, the king, taken out on the world stage, did his job. Okay? So really what I started with, folks, as I got all these messages, as I got all these bombarding messages from people about Terrence, I was doing this decode. I already did DNA, but I was doing the RNA, and it led me to the video on the Joe Rogan show, right? With Terrence. And I listened to it twice, 3 hours long. I listened to it twice. And he specifically put up Russell's periodic table, which brings it into the spiral, the curve. Because most of you know the periodic table is broken up into a square. It doesn't matter. It's just the same system telling the same story in a different way. Red is blue and blue is red, whatever. But he talks all about, he had a vision. And the vision was a circle, a spiral. And I'm going to show you why he had that vision. A lot of you have visions. Where are they coming from? You had dreams. I had an out-of-body experience. It's not you having them. You're experiencing it, but you're not having it. It's something outside of you running your reality. And we're being used to push this stuff out onto the world stage. Good and bad. So this is really what it started with here. And then I was working on this, and there it was. It was the solidification of my research, because right here, ladies and gentlemen, is nature. This right here, and I don't remember where I got the images from, but I researched it, and this is a 1 + 1 = 2 fact. This is 13 calendar months of the sun rising on the same day of every month. And you'll notice that it makes the dragon wave. The great dragon got hurled down. Okay? Right here. It's the sun. And you got to go 13 months to connect it to make a full spiral here. That's why the 13 is tied to shit. It's tied to you and I as human beings. That's why bear shit in Hebrew is 13. It's tied to the sun. Okay? And it's tied to Walter Russell's periodic table, which was introduced during Joe Rogan's podcast. And there's the spiral. And so what is the elements on the periodic table tied to? The sun. That's why sun and hydrogen. He talks a lot about hydrogen. Hydrogen is a big one. If you have a molecular hydrogen, if you have a hydrogen machine that I have one right on my desk. Hydrogen, you breathe it in. Why is it so healthy? Because it's from the sun, the life giver. And it's the superstar. And I have superstar part 1, part 2, part 3. You can see here how it's tied to the GOD. 365 days of the year. It's right there, sun. 14, and 14 is tied to the word time, because we only get so much time, and the sun moves through time, and it's on a timer. Even the word Satan equals 14. What do you think Satan is, folks? Time. Over time, you're going to sin. Okay? You can't help it. That's it. It's a big joke. But of course, people like to break everything up, and they like to define, and I get all of that. And that causes dissonance and et cetera, et cetera. So this was the big marker. And again, I'm decoding this as I get sent all this stuff on the videos. And I was like, oh, cool, as fate would have it, there it was. So there was my message. And so I started to look into this, and I wanted to bring in Walter Russell because this is the periodic table that he's pushing out here, which is this one. So Walter Russell is scripted in this as well. Do you think he gets a hall pass? Of course not. He was a king of clubs. King is tied to the sun. He was born on the 19th. He died on the same day on the 19th. This is the 19th card in the deck. He was a king of clubs. All the kings sit in the middle of the astrological map. They tied to the sun, the luminary body. Okay? He was born on the 19th, died on the 19th. The 19th card's the sun. This is the sun, folks. The periodic table is tied to the sun, which is what he's promoting right now. Okay? To keep this whole thing going. So this is where his dream and vision comes into play. You see, his name through numerology was a dead giveaway. Now, you got to dig a little because his birth certificate name, Terrence Dashon Howard, is going to give you a different result. But you see, you go and look, and there's his mother's maiden name. So his mother and father come together to form him. Howard and Williams comes together to form him, which is going to give you 47, which is scripted reality, by the way. But when you do that, it's a game changer. And his total is 103. And that's the 1 and the 3, which is tied to shit and bear shit. Okay? 1 and 3. And the 103 is tied to his vision, because all I have to do is go to the periodic table and connect it to the 103rd element called Lawrencium, and there's the vision of the spiral. See, this is what he says during the Joe Rogan experience. Nature is not straight. There's no straight lines in nature. It's curved. It's circular. It moves like a circle. Well, there it is. It's the cyclotron. And I've already broken this down and how I'm connected to this guy. I was born, personally myself, I was born at 1:03 a.m. How about you? What time were you born? I don't have his birth parameters complete. I don't know what time he was born at, but I'm going to show you his astrological map. Okay? And of course, this is why I'm decoding this, because I'm tied to this guy just through the name right here, the 103. So let's get into his astrological map. And I'm not going to go through too much of this because I have a lot of slides to go through and I want to zip through these. But I want to talk about how his life is being ruled over in a big way by the astrological chart, which is the great beast above, which is the 12 apostles, including the Christ, okay, ruling over you. And the job of this is to institute layers through mankind to continue to move through this simulation. Okay? So his birth card and his spirit card are right here. Remember, this is one of the cards of RNA, which is the messenger to the DNA. Okay? And this is his 2 birth cards through the tarot. And the Queen of Pentacles, again, wants it all, especially money. And when he steps up to be his spirit card, he ends up moving into being an apprentice, which is what he's already moved into now at this point. And since he has the 3 of diamonds, well, I can look to the 3rd house of astrology for him, which is Gemini. Well, for all of us, Gemini. And you know what sits here is Sirius. Sirius through the Vedic, which is the most accurate of the stars, not tropical, Vedic. Okay? It is the true map of the stars. Tropical is not. It is moved. Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, if you go type in March 21st, the spring equinox, the sun will not be in Aries. It will be in Pisces. Okay? So maybe thousands of years ago the sun was in Aries, but not now. The spring equinox is in Pisces. The fall equinox is in Virgo. The winter solstice is in Sagittarius. And the summer solstice is in Gemini. Okay, that's what it looks like on the astrological map from the perspective of the sky. So he has the messenger. Sirius is a big player in all this now. And his big piece layer here is he has Mercury. His chart ruler is actually the sun. His sun is going to, if we go, I'm going to show you, because you have to take into consideration that here's his birthday. The 11th of March, 1969. I don't know what time he was born at, so it's not going to really change much. But what you're going to see is there's a little variation of where the sun is just in between Aquarius and Pisces. It's actually going to give its energy to both because the sun has so much radiance to it. So he's got, to me, the way I read this, he's going to have a little blend of Aquarius and a little blend of Pisces. Remember, the Phoenix is down here. I already talked about the Phoenix rising because the Phoenix sits right in between Pisces and Aquarius. and his Mercury is here. Now, Mercury is the way you think. Okay? Mercury, for everybody, your Mercury is the way you think. So how does Terrence Howard think? Aquarius. What is Aquarius? Genius. What is Aquarius? Inventor, inventive, bringing new things out onto the world stage that have never been brought out before. Again, time will tell. I don't know. I don't know if this guy's the real deal, but his astrological chart matches up with genius mentality. And this is the way he thinks. But Mercury, of course, is the trickster, known as the trickster. And Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, which is where Sirius is laying over. He has his Saturn and his Venus, Venus being the Ankh in immortality and procreation. Well, he's got his karmic value here with Saturn. This card, by the way, is so heavy Saturn, it's ridiculous. And it sits all in this energy right here. And Saturn being a big marker in his reality, sitting in the sign of Aries/Pisces, it's going to be both. And Pisces, of course, is the great mystic, the mystic. What it means to be a human being, putting your feet on the ground, the two fish. And it's a water sign, right? So it's very water, it's very murky, watery, very touchy-feely. And to me, Neptune rules Pisces, because Neptune is the god of water. Well, his Neptune's down here in Scorpio. And what is Scorpio? Scorpio is the ruler of the occult, the hidden things, the things that people don't want to touch because it's taboo. Well, this guy is all about it. This guy's probably so involved in the occult, it would blow your mind. But of course, he can't help it because Neptune, which to me, Neptune is your addictions. So he's addicted to the occult. He's addicted to knowledge and finding out the hidden things in life. And he has the marker of Mars here to drive him to do that. His drive of Mars here in Scorpio is a big marker for him having addictions in the occult. And I would even say he's probably getting kind of an addiction to sex because he's got Mars in Scorpio, and Scorpio is kind of very seductive. But anyway, that's for a different story. But then he's got his moon here, which is the way you feel about life. The moon is the way you feel. That's why you go on a honeymoon, because it's, oh, how do you feel about me? If you look at your partner's chart, it'll tell you exactly how they want to be loved. Well, this guy is in love with knowledge because it's Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and his Jupiter is in Virgo, and Virgo is Earth. Virgo is an Earth sign. It's also the largest constellation on the ecliptic. It's got the largest span, the Virgin, the Virgo, the Virgin, and this is the Christ axis, right? Being born a man, and he also has, with Jupiter here, the grandfather of Jupiter, Uranus. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So I come back over here, and what has he got in Aquarius? His chart ruler, the sun, and Mercury, which this is all the age that we're seemingly moving into. So Jupiter is how he's going to expand his reality, and it will be through the making the world a better place, because Virgo is perfection. Virgo, the virgins, they want to keep everything perfect. That's why Virgos are normally known as the fun OCD. Like, they don't like bacteria and germs and spills and messes. They like to keep things beautiful. Why? Because in theology, the last day of creation is day number 6, and Virgo's the 6th sign through tropical. So, of course, the Virgin wants to keep it balanced and perfect and beautiful. And Jupiter wants to expand that through him, so he has to do that. He has Pluto here as well to remove any of the deadwood that no longer belongs according to his code. And he's got Uranus here, which means this is technology coming in here now. Combining technology with what it means to be a human being. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, he's got his K2 here, which is his spirituality. And K2 is the south node of the moon. Kind of like I relate K2 like been there, done that. But then the liberation, the desire moves into Rahu across the way, and he's got it in the sign of Pisces. Now, when Rahu comes in here, Rahu is your ultimate desire, and it just wants to achieve status and fame and fortune. It wants to feel comfortable. It wants the riches of the world. And this is what he's probably struggled with. But when he reaches a certain age, Rahu's like, okay, I'm in this water sign of Pisces. It's the last nakshatras here. This is all high spirituality. I got to do something here. So he wakes up and realizes one day, I'm going to move to my spirit card, which is the messenger. And I'm going to change the way people think about this and think about that. Now, again, I'm speculating because I don't know what's in store for this guy's future. I don't do predictions. I definitely can tell you, and what I'm showing you here is how he's coded. And then he has his wound of Chiron here as well. So this Chiron wound doesn't necessarily mean your wound in particular. It also can mean you being a catalyst for other people's wounds. You being a catalyst. So maybe that's what he's coming here to do, is to reinstitute the way we think about the Platonic solids and sacred geometry and the flower of life and all that stuff. And he's bringing it back to how it once was, or at least moving it into a new perspective. Maybe not even what it once was, maybe a new perspective, because he claims we're looking at the flower of life from a flat two-dimensional space, and we're stuck in the two-dimensional space, and he wants to bring us out of that. And we're getting into that reality because you're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is all about the age of technology. Remember, his technology, Uranus right here, partnering with his grandson, the expansion with Jupiter, are all in the sign of Virgo. And Virgo is creating a new chapter in this reality because Virgo is the Virgin in the number 6. And the number 6 is what it means to be a baby, to be a human being. Okay? So that's what it looks like for Terrence Howard. I'm going to come back to this in just a little bit, but let's keep going. So these are some of the highlights for this guy's code. Okay? This is what he has the ability to step into. Now, these are the assets, not the liabilities. I didn't want to bring in the liabilities. I want to just talk about the assets. This is what I would love to see this guy shine on the world stage. He has the 11 as his birthday. The 11th card in the tarot is the Justice card. So he has the ability to balance the world out and bring justice to the world in his own special and unique way. And so don't you, as a human being. You don't have to be born in the 11th to bring justice to the world. But these are some of the bullet points that Terrence Howard has the ability to move through. He can activate social justice and activism and be original about it. He can initiate utopian ideas and concepts. He can elevate idealism. He can support the well-being of the collective. He can assist people from breaking free from restrictive mindsets. Like I said, I can't figure out how the hell he gets 2 out of 1 times 1. But hey, I'm open to seeing what he's got. He just throws a lot of things out on the world stage, and he hasn't supported any of it, so I'm waiting for him to support. So until he supports it, I don't know, but hey, we'll see. Time will tell. I'm not just going to chalk it up to he's a loony and he's this and he's that. And I hope that none of you are going to do that as well. Okay? So these are some of the things. He can be a very leader in the mystical side of life, and he can really initiate, because remember, this is all about genius mentality. Yeah. The liability, you can go crazy. But remember, this card is governed by Saturn in a big way. And Saturn is right here in Ashwini, and this is the magician. This is the person who can really bring the health and wellness industry to the pristine condition it once was, to change the world. Okay? That's what this guy has the ability to do. Will he do that? Well, that remains to be seen. Okay, that remains to be seen. So these are some of the ideas that he can work through his code. So this is what brings another layer to this, is the cards of illumination. Now again, if you're new to this, well, just do the best you can to follow along. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a system. It's an oracle in itself. And you're going to have one of these cards. Over here is your life. Over here is your life card, which is right here for Terrence. He's the Queen of Diamonds. And what you do with this system, I'm going to be very general, is when you find your card, you go to the left. You go to the left and you follow it. And so your card becomes the sun. And then you go the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. And then you go to the second level or the top level. Okay? And he's got all his cards up till Uranus in the Saturn line. So this is a lot of heavy father time karma here. His Mercury card is the 5 of Hearts. And if you have a 5 of Hearts, you have this is the restless heart. 5 is the personification of sun into matter. That's why you have 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. So the way this guy thinks is never enough. It's never enough. It's never enough. It's I can do better. I can do better. And look at, and I can do better. And I can do better. And I can do better. And his Uranus card here is another 5. It's the 5 of Diamonds, which is the card of the game of life. So he wants to expand the game of life. He will defend what matters. He's trying to create a new Pandora's box. He's an artist. That's what this means. And he's working by creating and foundations in this reality through his Venus position. This is the card of light. This is the card of Lucifer, by the way. But those of you that get turned off by that, well, I don't know what to tell you. So he's got the Queen of Diamonds in his life card, and he's got life spread, and he's got the Three of Diamonds, which is his spirit card, which is the ruler of his Queen of Diamonds. Okay, so he wants to step up to the Three of Diamonds. And again, this is why it's a tough life path, because he's got all diamonds, and diamonds is money. Okay, wanting to have the great things in life. And he's got the actor card all the way at the end here in his Uranus position. The Nine of Diamonds is the card of the actor. So he obviously had it in his code to do that. But the big standout was the Saturn position here. But his card is Saturn and Mercury. Okay? So the Mercury and Saturn are big, big standouts for this guy. Saturn and Mercury. And the Mercury is the way he thinks. And Saturn is the karmic ties that you have to work through in this reality. Through time. Okay? Through time. So let's get into some more layers. That was the astrological and the cards. I'm going to get into the cards a little bit more here. But let's talk about his birth card. The Queen of Diamonds. Okay? The Manchurian candidate card. And the 38. It is the 38th card in the deck. And ribonucleic, as in ribonucleic acid, the messenger, is 38. So again, this is the Manchurian, the implant, the voice in your head, and ribonucleic acid is the messenger to the deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay? Which is what this looks like. See, the ribonucleic acid is the messenger to the deoxyribonucleic acid, the tribe of Dan in theology. It's RNA. Okay? And this is the 5 elements, the 5 main elements that make up RNA and DNA. Okay? RNA and DNA are made up of hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and Lucifer's element, phosphorus. That's right. Phosphorus, light, okay? Light. Hydrogen, the sun. Carbon, matter. Nitrogen and oxygen is the air that we breathe. And phosphorus is tied to light, the movie, okay? Being a player here on the world stage. And his birth card's tied right to ribonucleic acid, which is the messenger. He's a messenger, okay? That's what his job is. He's got a big role, obviously. Where's he going to go with it? I don't know. He was born in Chicago. If you lay a map of ancient Egypt over Chicago, you're going to see that Chicago is right there with ancient Egypt. United States is the new Garden of Eden. It has been the new Garden of Eden. As the great Jordan over at Waters Above, big shout out to him. We did a podcast on that. And the Nile River is almost identical to the Mississippi River. St. Louis, Chicago, all these, and he's right there, okay? The layers of that. So let's get into this ribonucleic, deoxyribonucleic acid. I'm going to show you how he's tied right to it. This is what he's reprogramming with his sacred geometry and his lines and the astrological, the Walter Russell periodic table. Okay, the curves. The periodic table is exactly DNA. Okay, DNA. This is the spiral. This is Jacob's ladder. This is the Vesica Piscis. So many things in here. But anyway, when you add up and do the molar mass, in science it's called the molar mass. When you take the protons and electrons of these 5 elements, you get the number 74. And this, now we go to the periodic table again. And I got that next. Let me just do this first. I got them out of order. We're going to go to the calendar, on the Gregorian calendar. I'm going to connect to as many things as I can. 74. What's the 74th day of the year? Well, it's March 14th and March 15th. Because March 14th is the 74th day in leap years. And March 15th is the 74th day of the common year. What's 14 and 15? 29. What's 29? It's the messenger. It's Terrence Howard's spirit card. Okay? And this is what he's talking about. This stuff. Changing DNA, changing science, changing the way we think about things. Reprogramming. He's the messenger. Changing DNA from RNA. The simple little things, and this is how valuable calendars are. There's nothing fake about the Gregorian calendar. It has just as much merit as the Coptic calendar, the Egyptian calendar, the Hebrew calendar. They all have their say in this reality. There's nothing wrong unless you say it's wrong. It's here for a reason. It's been here for a long time for a reason. This is Pi Day, by the way. Pi Day, March 14th, because you're stuck in Pi. Human beings are stuck in Pi. Pi is the perfect circle, which is Earth. 3.14. The circle moves forward. And Terrence was all about the circle. Okay? The circle. So 29 is the days on the calendar, which is the 74, and they're tied to the sun. Here is the patterns of the sun, as I told you, and here's RNA. What do you see here, folks? What do you see right here? This fits right into here. The sun is the messenger of our deoxyribonucleic acid. When you break down ribonucleic acid to its single digits, ribonucleic is 38, which reduces down to the number 11. 3 plus 8 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. And so ribonucleic reduces down to the number 2. And then acid is a 9. That's 29. And there's Terrence Howard's spirit card. Where do you think he's getting his messages from? Not from him. He's receiving them from something else. He's a messenger. Okay? A messenger. So he's got the Queen of Diamonds as the 38th card in the deck, and the full numerology of ribonucleic acid, the messenger's 38. And when you break it all the way down to single digits, it's the number 29, which is his spirit card. He's a messenger, folks. You don't have to like him, and wait, we'll just see what happens. Now, I'm not saying he's going to put out some things that you're going to love or the things that are going to benefit mankind. Maybe he's a bad guy on the world stage. I don't know. But again, good and bad are ruled over by the same boss in this reality to cause dissonance, to cause a chain reaction of emotional reactions, which feeds this reality because mankind's being used for food. The Greeks talked about it called ambrosia. But anyway, that's for a different story. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The sun is the RNA. Okay? Fits right in there. This is the Golden Gate Bridge right here, by the way. The Golden Gate Bridge. Why do you think they call it the Golden Gate Bridge? Because it's the RNA. Okay, so here's his two cards. Remember that. The Queen of Diamonds and the Three of Diamonds. And he's got the Three of Diamonds is the messenger. Okay, the RNA. Okay. So this is how big RNA is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it says. It's of paramount importance in molecular biology and genetics, contributing to essential cellular processes, gene expression, genetic regulation, and the storage of genetic information. Its role extends beyond protein synthesis and is crucial for the functioning and evolution of life on Earth. Crucial. Tied to the sun. Okay? Tied to the sun. That's why in theology in Psalms 84 verses 11, God says, I am a sun and shield, which is the moon. No brainer there. Okay? So what are the two cards for March 14th and March 15th? Tied to the 5 elements that make up RNA, DNA, which is what Terrence Howard's all about. Well, it's the 9 of Diamonds and 8 of Diamonds. 9 of Diamonds is one of Terrence Howard's 4 primary cards. The 9 of Diamonds and the 8 of Diamonds. Okay? The 9 of Diamonds is card 35. The word simulation is 35. You're in a simulation, being used as a character. Everybody. Okay? And what is 35 and 34? What does that equal? 69. What year was Terrence Howard born in? 1969. See how it's all connected? Deoxyribonucleic acid, 69, which is what ribonucleic acid programs. This is where you're going to get demon from. That's why I've been saying, just be the best little devil you can be. Demon. Desire. Desire is lust. And now, just like that, you get the story of the fallen angels. Lust. Humping. Procreation. The game never ends, ladies and gentlemen. How about the difference between Walter Russell and Terrence Howard, since he's using Walter Russell's periodic table? Well, Russell born on May 19th, Terrence March 11th. The days in between on the calendar, 69 days. 69 is the yin-yang. Duality. Duality. Deoxyribonucleic acid, duality. 2. Ribonucleic acid, 1. Deoxyribonucleic acid, 2. Okay? The messenger that programs the carrier. Okay? So now we get into the golden ratio. Why the golden ratio? Because it's tied to the sun and nature. Here is the spiral. You can move this in so many different directions. Here's the ribonucleic acid tied to the messenger of the sun, which forms the DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid. Here's the numerology of both. Ribonucleic, deoxyribonucleic. 69 and 47, the golden ratio, 116. That's a permutation of the 1.61. 1.61, which is the golden ratio. There's the 6, and there's the 9. 69, deoxyribonucleic acid, 69. This guy didn't have a choice in his reality, as does Terrence Howard. We're just along for the ride. Just got to figure out your code. It's a beautiful life when you figure your code out. Stop bitching and stop pointing fingers, thinking people are out to get you. Okay? It's the golden ratio right there. 69. I mean, you go look at a hurricane that makes these shapes, et cetera, et cetera. So when you bring it into the periodic table, this is what I messed up at. When you do the molar mass of the 5 elements for RNA, DNA, you get 74. You bring that into the periodic table and you get the big W. Tungsten. The big W. If you watched my breakdown of Jason from Archaics, I showed you how scripted his reality was. He's not in control of his reality, and how he was tied directly to tungsten, which is tied to the great beast. And they have a picture of a light bulb here. Why is that? Because they used to make filament in light bulbs. They used to make filament with tungsten. Well, look at the shape of the old filaments, folks. It's the shape of the sun. This is a so below of the as above. Nature and then the recreation of nature into a light bulb. Okay? This is 26, 25 months here. And if there's the big W. The letter M is here. The McDonald arch is here. This is where McDonald's got its arch from. This is the letter S, as in the snake, as in the serpent. This is the letter M, as in mother, as in Mary. The letter W. This is where you're going to get WWW. They're all here, folks. Tied to the sun. Tied to the sun. Nothing new under the sun, as the Beatles sang. Tied to the 5 primary elements that made the structure of RNA, DNA, which is what Terrence Howard was all about. So when you go to the periodic table, you could spell out some of these words. Many of you have done that. And one of them is you could spell out, I am God. I am. This equals 369. Whoop. This is its most abundant. 369. I am. This is 148 tied to the dream and 369. Okay? These two. And then the GD. I am God. When you add them up, when you add up all the neutrons, protons, and electrons, there's the 74. So what is this saying? I am the sun, the life giver. And the average weight of tungsten is 183, which is half of the 365-day calendar. Not by accident. Tungsten, the big W, which means heavy stone. And this is tied to Daniel 2:44. If you're into theology, talking about the stone that will smash all the other kingdoms. Well, tungsten means stone, heavy stone, tied to the sun. Okay? Tied to the sun. So let's bring some mathematics into this and the golden ratio. Now, this is another thing I think Terrence Howard says. He says, this is wrong. Listen, I was using the pi. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into it. Let me just talk about this. The golden ratio, 1.618033, and so on and so forth. Where's the number 74 since the 5 primary elements that make up RNA and DNA? Where's the 74 found? Right here. And you add it all up. You get 58, which is as above, so below, but you get the 1 and then the 57. This is why 57 is so big. Remember, if you're a fan of Heinz ketchup, there's 57 varieties. Okay? What about the 157? The 157. What's that tied to? It's tied to the average weight of gadolinium, the GD element. And see, the reason why they have the television here is because they used to make gadolinium for television screens. So this is the funny cosmic joke, right? You're on television. The GD element, it's God on television using you as a character, as an actor or actress. The average weight is 157. Okay, there it is, where the 74 is. You see, you need light to have a simulation. Like if next time you go to the movie theater and you look behind you, there's a bulb through the wall splashing the image out on the screen. How do you project the screen? Through light. So essentially, what's the devil? Light. Light. The movie. Pandora's box. You're in it. This is Pandora's box. Well, we're inside of a movie ourselves. You're in Pandora's box. Okay? And how's Terrence Howard tied to this gadolinium element right here? Well, he was born on March 11th, otherwise known as 311. What's 311? The 64th prime number. Huh. Interesting. So he's got the 64th prime number tied to his birthday, 311, which is tied to the GD element, which is tied to the 5 primary elements that make up RNA, DNA. It's tied right to it, folks. He's a messenger. Okay, like I said, I don't know what's coming out, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's not in control of his reality. Period. He's not. No, that's not what the code says. So, going a little bit further here, what happens when you add up the protons, neutrons, and electrons for all 5 elements that make up RNA, DNA? Here it is, trusty calculator, you get 1, 1, 1. Now, if you go back to the old style calendar, before the Gregorian, before the Julian calendar, March was the first month. March was the first month. And now you just get the 111. See? So it doesn't matter. I'll get it on the 311 tied to the 64th prime through the Gregorian calendar. And if I go pre-Gregorian, pre-Julian, I'm going to get it right here. Doesn't matter. It's all scripted anyway. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are telling you the truth here. Okay? The numbers are telling you. And what's this 111 tied to? The sun. This is the magic square of the sun. Now, I didn't create this. I don't know how far back this goes, but here we are. It has the numbers 1 through 36 scrambled and jumbled up in this box of numbers, going all the way up to the number 36, and 36 is tied to Krypton. Cryptocurrency, Krypton, because cryptocurrency is taking the sun and its gold and moving it into a digital format. Krypton is cryptocurrency. That's what we're moving towards next. And there's all five of these rows, 6 of these rows, is 666, which is carbon, which is man, which is you, me, and everybody else. We're the beast below. The little devils down here running around, creating chaos and order, thinking we got it all figured out when we actually don't know shit. What about taking that 111, bringing it into the golden ratio now, right? Because it's tied to the sun, which is tied to Terrence Howard, which is tied to all the protons, neutrons, and electrons, which make up RNA and DNA. You bring it back into the golden ratio, occupies digit 441, 442, 443. 443 is the 86 prime number. And that element, Krypton 86, is big. Tied to the magic square of the sun. It's got 36 digits in it, scrambled up. 36, the word Jesus Christ equals 36, tied to the sun. Okay? Krypton, 36 and 86. Cryptocurrency. The age of the Christ is the age of cryptocurrency. You can make book on that. How about just adding up the protons? 1, 6, 7, 8, 15, 37. The proton is like the messenger, the light. This is the RNA itself, if you want to look at it that way. Combining with the electrons, or the neutrons, to make up the weight. But the proton, these are the protons. The photon, the proton, the light. 37. What's 37? The eye, the all-seeing eye. It's the all-seeing eye that detects light, the electric eye. This is the little clues here. 37. And if you've been following this great research for so long, 1937-46 is the loop that keeps you coming back. Keeps you coming back. 37. 37 is what? 37 is eye in the sky. I am the eye in the sky looking at you. What are the odds that the 37th element is eye in the sky and they got a photo sensor from an electric eye here to represent that? And 37 sits right below 55, which sits right below, sits right above 19. 19's the sun. Okay, the sun, the RNA, the messenger of the DNA of mankind. Okay, so I got a few slides left here. So what does it look like through the cards now? Terrence Howard's tied right to this, right? Well, you see, there's a methodology for the cards of illumination if you're a decoder. There are 52 cards in a deck, so I can't go beyond 52. So if you get a digit beyond that, 512, 260, you subtract 52 cards until you get to 52 or below. Well, I want to find out what the value is of 111 tied to the magic square of the sun and see what card comes out. Well, it's the 7. So the magic square of the sun, which is right here, ends up becoming the number 7. And there are 7 chakras. There are 7 days of the week. There are 7 colors of the rainbow, and the colors are created from light, which is the sun. Okay? Light slowed down into physical matter, and now we have a playing card. Some of you will be the 7 of hearts. Now, 2 big names on the world stage that have this as their birth card. Number 1, Bill Gates. What do you think he's trying to do? Anthony Fauci, 7 of hearts. Again, you don't have to like these people. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, with or without your permission. Because that's what causes the disruption in this reality, to make change for the new ways of coming that are coming. Okay? Not everybody incarnates to play the good character, folks. That's just the way this research shows. So this 7 of hearts ends up becoming the 7 of cups to get the picture in the tarot. Tied to our RNA, DNA. You being a non-player character in the world stage, you become, and this is God. This person right here, this figure is God, and it's looking at all its choices. I'm going to create this simulation called life on Earth, and I'm going to choose this, I'm going to choose that, I'm going to choose this, and then it plays out the simulation. When you incarnate and become a human being, you have a role to play out that was already predestined for you. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. They're already selected for you. This is God. This is the remote control of God. It's you, the messenger, programming your DNA to do whatever it wants to do with you. And the 7 of hearts is 59 through Chaldean numerology, same as 7 of cups, 59 through Chaldean numerology, which is the same as the game of life. How many rosary beads in Catholicism? 59. Why? Because it keeps you coming back. 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 You know what the prison is? DNA. DNA is the prison. So I think this is my last slide right here. So I'm going to go to solar spread number 7, right? These change every year. All the way up to the number 91. These change. So I'm going to go to solar spread number 7. And I'm going to look to card number 7. And look at what's sitting in the spirit spread to rule over the 7 of hearts. It's Terrence Howard's spirit card, the 3 of diamonds, the apprentice. What does this card mean? The creation of things. What is an apprentice? Builder, mason, doer. And they have to create by way of what their code says. God says, well, I'm going to pick this for this person, and now you become an apprentice. This is the RNA. The messenger of the DNA. 7 chakras, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 days of the week. Right here. Okay? Tied to our DNA. Tied to our RNA. And this guy right here, my final answer, as it would be, I can decode any single person on the world stage, anybody. I'm confident enough to show that we're being used. Okay? The fun thing now is, why are you here? What are you here for? And it will be really interesting to see what Terrence Howard comes up with these formulas, the periodic table, Russell's periodic table, because this is the sun. Absolutely. The guy was born on a sun day. He died on a 19. 19 is the sun. The word master equals 19. So I'll just go to numerology. Very, very simple. master is 19. That's the sun, folks. The master. 19 is the master, which is a battery. We live inside of a battery of 1 and 9. Okay? Matter of fact, Adam and Eve, the original Hebrew spellings of Adam and Eve reduced down to the number 1 and the number 9. Adam is 9, Eve is the number 1. The 9 chasing the 1. Adam chasing the 1. Chasing ass. That's how it keeps this reality going, is by chasing ass and creating a new human being, creating a new deoxyribonucleic acid to become another player on the world stage so you can live out by being used through the supernatural. And it's not, I'm not saying there's anything bad about it. So if you're reading me like why you think it's so bad? I'm not saying it's bad. I think life is amazing. I think it's fun. I enjoy it. But a lot of you are suffering. You don't like it. There's these aspects to take into consideration. So my final answer is Terrence Howard doesn't have a choice. He's doing his job. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Okay? And all these layers are support to show you that we live in a predestined, scripted reality, and figuring out what your code is the most important thing anyone can do, especially if you got children. Because this is what's going to pave the way to create a perfect society, because you'll know what you're coded in and you won't have to figure it out, and you'll know what you're going to gravitate towards, and there'll be less struggle because then you know what to expect and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So that was my breakdown, ladies and gentlemen, of Terrence Howard. Could have did, Joe Rogan, again, born on the August 11th. Big name on the world stage, doing his job, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Whew, that was a long one, I think. All right, let me get into some of these comments, and we're going to call it a night. I'm not going to stay too long. AD says those frames and backgrounds are so Aquarius of you. Well, I mean, I only have one celestial in Aquarius, which is Mercury. My Mercury is in Aquarius, just like Terrence Howard. So the way I think is Aquarian. That's the only celestial I have in Aquarius, is Mercury. That's it. Everything else is Sag and Capricorn, pretty much Sag and Capricorn. I'm more Sag and Capricorn, more Sag than anything else, really, to be honest with you. But let's see, I'm going to check your cards out. Yeah, somebody said about acid. Well, why is there acid? Well, the word acid is the number 9. Okay, in numerology, acid is the number 9, and this reality is yin-yang, and it's the 6 and the 9 which represent the yin-yang. And the research shows that the 6 feeds the 9. The 9 takes from the 6. Acid is what eats away. So it's a taker. Take. But it needs something to take from. And that's where the 6 comes in. That's why 6 in theology is the last day of creation. It's the lover's card in the tarot. It's the element carbon. It's the first perfect number in mathematics. The word baby equals 6. The word Gaia in Greek numerology and its original expression is 6. Acid eats from the 6. Acid 9 takes from the 6. And it's a never-ending loop. The 6 feeds that. That's where you get rob Peter to pay Paul. I have a decode coming out on this. Rob Peter to pay Paul. You ever heard that statement? Rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, Peter is the church, and you got Paul robbing the church. to keep it going. Loop. And that's why it's called religion. To do it again, to do it again, to do it again, to do it. That's why Terrence Howard says there's no straight lines in nature. It's circular, or it's waves. Yeah, waves. Earth is a wave. People ask me all the time, do you think Earth is flat? My answer, no, I don't. It's more wave. Broke all that down on my Masonic flat Earth. Waves, baby, waves. Going through some of your comments. I don't know why some people have to call people names like sheep. Why do you have to call people sheeple? I mean, you were once one of those people. I don't know. We got to get over this mentality, man. Calling people sheeple and sheep. And you were once there at one point in your life. Be grateful that you're not there anymore. I just wish people would stop doing that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going through your comments. Thanks everybody for showing up. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll just pull a couple tarot cards for fun to see what the message is. And I'm just going to call it a day. Call it a night. Shuffle these. Some of you just need a hug, man, in life. Some of the comments, some of you just need hugs. It's going to be okay. It's no race. Nobody's better than anybody else. We're all just doing our roles. There's no reason to fight. No one's ahead of anybody. You're exactly where you need to be in your reality. That's the beautiful part. When you wake up and realize, like, the only competition is looking in the mirror. There's nobody farther out more in front than you are. You're exactly where you need to be. And that alleviates any burdens in life. That's it. There will always be somebody ahead of you if you want to look at it that way. You will be somebody that someone look at and say, you're asleep. There will always somebody that can look at you, tell you that you're completely asleep. Somebody that can look at me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And you know, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea. So once you start to go down the rabbit hole and you explore all the caves and everything that it's offering up to you, there's so many possibilities. All I can do is chalk it up again and just alleviate that from, we live inside of a Ponzi scheme and everything's owned by the same boss. And it's a comedian. It's a comedian. It likes to be funny. And this reality is not real. It's a movie. So why are you getting all upset? Why are you having all these emotional reactions? Why are you getting pissed off and angry? Why are you cursing people? Why are you calling people names and like you got it all figured out? Where do you got it all figured out? Well, why can't we just have fun and just relax? Just go do you. Okay, great. You think you're way ahead of everybody else. Awesome, great. Now what? Should I come over to your house and pin a blue ribbon on your chest because you got it all figured out? Because you're not asleep? If you're, hopefully, you can get out of that stage of mind. I really sending all of you a ton of love. I mean, I hope that you can get out of that state of mind where you think that you're so far ahead of everybody else and, oh yeah, this person's, no, you're not farther ahead than anybody. You're just kidding yourself. That's your ego wanting to do that. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just merely saying is that you can be a little bit more humble and realize like people ask me, what do you know? Nothing. Yeah, but don't you have a channel? And yeah, but still nothing. I still learn. I still constantly sit on my ass and watch that screen. It sucks me dry. Hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm addicted to it. Why? Because my Neptune's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the hermit, and that's what my whole life is about. I'm being used as a freaking hermit, as a studier, as somebody who studies, study, and then I push it back out. That's what I'm doing. So am I regurgitating stuff? Yep. Do I have some things that I put out that maybe no one's ever had? Maybe. But who cares? Because one day, the things, even if it is something brand new that you put out or I put out on the world stage, it's not going to be brand new for long. And then after a certain period of time, people are like, oh, whatever, that's not a big deal. Because it's not a shiny new toy anymore. Oh, it's no big deal. That's why there's 10,000 religions, because that one, I'm kind of bored with that one. What, you think God's the same way? You think the God is like, doesn't get bored? We get bored. The God gets bored. Huh. Yeah? You want to change. Change. That's what keeps this reality going is change. Change the fives. That's why you have 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. 5 here, 5 of hearts, 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, 5 of spades. Change. You should never retract from change. You should never fear change. You should never resist change. When change comes into your life, that's a message to change. Bill Donahue said, to change your life, you have to change your life. How prophetic is that? To change your life, you have to change your life. So prophetic. Study your code, folks. Know why you're here and stop trying to be better than everybody else, because you're not. Stop thinking that you're way ahead of everybody else, because you're not. There's always somebody way ahead of you. There's always somebody that got it way more figured out than you do, than I do. And then we just get humbled by that and realize we don't know nothing. But then we have all these people trying to like fight and argue and kick and scream because, oh, well, I got it figured out. I'm right and you're right. And then it's just like you're wasting time trying to prove somebody wrong when you could be spending that on educating and making this world a better place. But no, you got to just sit there and you're so afraid to be wrong that you got to just slam everybody else just to get your point out there, just to think that you're way ahead of everybody else. And then at the end of the day, what happens? More dissonance. But that's what people like. This reality has to change because people instead of shooting a needle in their arm, they just watch and listen to people argue and debate. Oh yeah, I'm going to go debate somebody. And that doesn't do shit. That doesn't change anything. Okay, you get to be right. Great. Wonderful. Whew. So glad you did that. This world needs to change out of that. We need a lot more 5 energy coming in. Not fighting 5 energy. 5 energy. Change. 5. Change. All right, so let's get into some of the messages here for this collective. I'm just going to randomly pull whatever, and see what we have for all of you collectively since you're here. So first card of the night, is the Hangman. The Hangman. Which is surrender. You know, I did a Astro Tarot on my Patreon channel, Patreon only, and I have an Astro Tarot Part 2 coming out. And again, like, just when I come out with a system, I'm like, oh, okay, this looks cool. And now I'm having to readdress the astrological map. And if you think March is the first month, if you think the spring equinox is the first month, well, you would be wrong if you live in if you live in New Zealand, because it's their fall time. So when you say, oh yeah, March is the first month, not in New Zealand, it's not. How can it be? It's my fall time. Why would you consider my fall? Fall is not the first. It's refinement. So you would have to go to the fall equinox, which would be during the month of September, and then that's the first month in New Zealand. And then it becomes our fall month in the Tropic of Cancer. So I'm having to look at these astrologically, and the research shows that maybe, and I said this earlier, maybe thousands of years ago, the sun rose in Aries, but it doesn't. The true map of the canopy is sidereal. Sidereal. Okay? It's the true map that's the actual placements. The tropical is based on the seasons. Well, the seasons are not exactly fixed. So because of that, I've had to look back, and if you go to September 22nd, 21st, when the fall equinox, well, guess where the sun's going to be? In the sign of Virgo. It's in Virgo. The largest constellation gets the nod for one of the equinoxes, and then the next one, the opposite, is going to be Pisces. So Pisces becomes the first month, the first zodiac sign, I should say. And I know it upends, it upended the research I've been doing. But when I come out with part 2 for the Patreon members, you're going to see there's a lot of merit to it. So pulling this card right here, I normally would say this is a card of Pisces, but I can also tell you this is the card of Aquarius. What's right across from Aquarius? Leo. And what is Leo ruled by? The sun. What do you think? What's behind that person's head? The sun. Illumination. So if I put this in Pisces, it changes a lot of stuff. It changes a lot of stuff. Because now you have the Pisces-Virgo axis, and this becomes the card of Aquarius. Whereas this used to be the card of Pisces through the systems I've been using. So the first message here, ladies and gentlemen, again, so now I'm going to have to teeter-totter and use, because I'm not saying tropical's wrong. I'm a fan of both systems, but you have to take the tarot cards now and move them into 2 houses when you get to this layer of research. So this could be the card of Aquarius, an enlightenment. And again, Aquarius is opposed by Leo, which is ruled by the sun. The sun opposite of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the water bearer, right? Which means knowledge. That's why Terrence Howard is coming out with all this information. Again, it remains to be seen if his patents, and he's got over 10 patents, if his information pans out. I don't know. Haven't been able to sit down with the guy and talk to him directly. I would love to, but I don't know. But that's the message here for all of us is right now the collective is the Hangman, which is illumination in a way. This is how you come out of the womb usually, head first. We got the bottom, the Hierophant. But let's shuffle and get another card here. We have the card of Enlightenment, which I think, to me, this card fits Aquarius so much better than it does Pisces, really, because Aquarius is information. The pouring out of information. What happens when the pouring out of information happens? You get enlightened. There's nothing you can't find these days within seconds by just tapping into the internet. Nothing. Well, 100 years ago, they didn't have that. All right, second card. The Hangman's coupled with the High Priestess. So more knowledge. More knowledge. And this card being card number 2. I know we would typically say, oh, this is the card of Venus and Taurus. But now I'm not so sure. Now this would actually move into Aries. And of course, you know, it does have merit there because Aries is the ram, which has 2 horns just like Taurus does. So this may end up becoming an Aries card as well as a Taurus card. But there's Boaz and Yachin, the pillars. And this, I'm going to just tell all of you, is tied right to the letter Bet in the Hebrew alphabet, number 2, of course. But in more ways than you can possibly imagine. But the B, see that pillar, which is Boaz? That's Bet. And the Yachin is going to be tied to the number 10 and the Yod. Okay? But this is knowledge. We have knowledge twice now. We have knowledge twice, these 2 cards. So let's see what the third one is coming out for this message. Knowledge and knowledge. Study and knowledge. Like study, don't take my word for it. Third card is the Queen of Dreams. The Queen of Cups. This is the card of NASA. Oh, I know, say it isn't so, not NASA. Yeah, we see NASA uses magic to fulfill its obligations. The Queen of Dreams, July 29th, the founding date of NASA. The Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Wonderland. You see, how do you create Wonderland? Magic. How's this place created? Magic. The matrix, the womb. You're in it. It's created by imagination and dreams. So this coming in here with the High Priestess, which is the oracle here, the driver of the dream, and then there's the resignation of illumination. Let's get another card. Fourth card. We get the Fool. Card 0. Talked about the 0, right? 0 is part of the binary. This is the womb. The 1 goes into the 0. The Fool. The Fool means to be very naive, to create from a layer of not what it feels like. Go into surrendering to create your own dream. The message here is go create your own dream. Turn off the static by going into the silence. Go into the silence. Cut out the static and cancers in your life. Go into a spiritual detox. Figure out what it is that you want to dream. What's your dream? And what you're going to come out on the other end, once you do that, you come out as a fool. And the Fool suggests to come out in a naive position a little bit, right? Nothing wrong with that. And what I'm talking about is the true essence of the Fool card is not knowing what it feels like to be ripped off, screwed over, cheated on, robbed, stabbed. None of that. The energy of this card right here is suggesting to come from a place in your mind to where there's no blemishes in your reality. To create from that place. Not being influenced by other people, other archetypes. Come from a place of your own imagination. That's the Queen of Hearts says. What's your dream? She's the Queen of Dreams. I told you the big marker is this is the card of NASA. Now, forget about if you like them or don't like them. That's not important. The important thing is how this has been used for what they want to put out on the world stage. See, if everybody stopped watching the news, it would just crumble instantly. But people love that, and they don't want to let it go. You can't be this if you're involved in the mainstream. Because you're now being directed and your imagination is being hijacked by somebody else's dream. And now you're not. You'd actually be the hangman. You'd be in the reverse position. You're not enlightened. So essentially, I don't really read reversals, but I can tell you that even if this card came out flipped, the liability asset of the hangman is either you're going to enlighten yourself or you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to get pushed back in. If you come out feet first from the womb, the doctor will push you back in. You're not coming out. The high priestess, either you're going to go into the quiet or you're going to stay stuck in the static and the chatter of your reality. You're not willing to surrender to the openings that are coming in. And the Queen of Dreams, either you're going to dream or you're going to produce somebody else's dream. I'm going to get one more, 5, right? We're going to do 5. That's the message. And I'm just the messenger. The last card. Shit, my birth card. Trapped and limited. So a very big reason why I have a specific job in this reality, and not any better than anybody else's. I'm nobody. But my job's specific when it comes to me, and your job's specific. Your role as an actor or actress is specific. Well, one of them, for me, was I was born into this because I had to tell you that you're born into this. We're born into this, which is trapped and limited. The 8 of spades, the 8 is the infinity symbol. And infinity in numerology is 26, just like the word source. You're in it. And 19, which is the sun, is the 8th prime number. You're in it. You're in the infinity symbol, which makes the sine and cosine wave, and now you get into mathematics. This is card 57/58. So the message here is very crystal clear. You're either going to stay stagnant or you're going to get out of the trap. And how do you do that? The very first requisite is turn off the frickin' mainstream. Just shut it off. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're somebody if you grab your phone and you're scrolling through, I don't know, Instagram, and you're looking at all these people and you're judging them. Oh my God, this person's an idiot. And that you're not only doing that, but you're also giving that person energy, which is feeding them. Good or bad energy doesn't matter. You're giving them energy, making them larger on the world stage. And those that have the knowledge of this information, they know this. Now you have the knowledge to know that Magic 101 should be your foundation, and realize, what do you feed every day? What is it that you feed on a daily basis? What do you spend the most time doing? Do you spend a lot of time giving your energy to other people's dreams? Or have you refined and leveled up and you've shut off the mainstream and now you're creating your own dream? Despite what's going on the world stage, which you have no control over. And we may just be creating our own pockets, our own timelines to where, if you're not living in fear, that won't affect you. But clearly the message is, card number 1, to go through these again, it's the hangman. You're either going to be enlightened or you're going to stay stuck. High priestess, you're either going to go into the silence and study yourself and study what's going on in your reality, or you're going to stay stuck. And you're going to sit in inertia, and you're going to sit there and stew, and the Queen of Dreams comes in. You're either going to create your dream or you're going to create their dream. It's really that simple. It's not very hard to read tarot cards. And the Fool is, you're either going to go out there and create from a layer of I have no blemishes. There's nothing wrong. Everything's great. Everything's groovy. I'm going to get rid of my trauma. This fool has no trauma. There's no trauma in this card. Zero trauma. It's the card 0. So it's encouraging you to become enlightened, to study yourself, figure out what you want for your dream to come. Like Terrence Howard is doing what his mind is telling him to do. He's creating his dream. Despite the setbacks, despite the turmoil, despite the negativity, despite the resistance, he's going to go out there and do what he's got to do. And I'm going to tell you, he's Queen of Diamonds is a Saturn. You try pushing that person around. If it's meant to be somebody on the world stage that changes the game, well, I mean, that Queen of Diamonds is a card that can do it. Remember that today's card is the 7 of Clubs. And the message for the 7 of Clubs is to not budge. It's the card of the mystic, right? The 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 days of the week. 7 is tied to the patterns of the sun. It goes 1, 7, 1. The sun does. 1, 7, 1. But the 7 of Wands, the message on it will normally give you people's interpretation of pushback. Pushback. I'm trying to find the card. There it is. It's this one. This is today's card. Pushback. See that card? But I'm trying to, reassess this and look at it from how can we create a asset out of this. Just like those sticks that are coming at you, imagine those are people's opinions. And you're like, get that shit out of here. I don't need, your opinion doesn't pay my bills. Your story has no merit in my story. My dream is what I'm going to focus on. My dream, not your dream. Today's card combined with that 7 of Wands, Queen of Hearts. Get that shit out of here, man. Just go do you. I'm going to go do me. But that's not what people do in this reality. People love to be led. And they do it really innately through just reading the tabloids. So that's the message for all of you for this Terrence Howard. And I hope I get to meet him one day. And just, have a conversation. I mean, he's a smart dude. I just don't know how 1 × 1 = 2 yet. But that's what the message I have is for all of you great decoders out there, is to stop feeling like you're limited and trapped. Get out there and create your dream through your enlightenment. Take some time away. Take a break if you need to. Collect your thoughts. But the very first requisite to level up in this reality is you got to turn off the things that have been influencing you. You got to, I watch, I see how many people are still watch the mainstream in a very big way. And they are being influenced by the mainstream. Like, I just had a conversation today with one of my best friends who just got his degree, his PhD. He's got a PhD in political science. He's one of the smartest guys I know. But when I want to know the gossip, when I call him on the phone, he tells me, oh, this is going on. And I don't know anything about that shit. I'm just like, I'm oblivious. I'd rather be oblivious than give my energy to their dream. I'm not interested in that. For me now, right? And I'm just a messenger. Not everybody here that's watching this is going to agree with what I'm saying. A lot of you may not like me. You're not going to like the way I talk, the way I look. You're going to judge me for whatever. It doesn't matter. This message is not for everybody. I am not a cookie cutter way of life. I am just me. I'm just me. So I'm going to just do one more card and Lucy Rose says, I can give great advice but not applying it to self. Would that be self-sabotage? See, everything's working for you, not to you. Maybe that's why the Hangman came in here, because it's suggesting to all of you here to analyze your enlightenment. What does your spirituality look like? What does it mean? What are your foundations? And then to go into your oracle and study your dream instead of theirs. Okay, so one more card for my Bugs Bunny deck for the overall message here for all of you great decoders. One card. Wow, I just pulled the card of today. So this is the card of duality. This is the card of birthday. So be you. Be you. Stop being somebody else. Stop giving energy to everybody else. Just be you. How do you be you? You may need to do a mental detox. A lot of people talk about, oh, I'm going to fast. Jordan talks a lot about dry fast or what fast. That's great. That's great. But when's the last time you did a mental fast? Maybe the first thing you need to do is stop with your fighting and pushing. You don't need to go fight anybody. You don't need to debate anybody. You don't need to argue with people. You don't need to try to be right and prove them wrong. I'm not saying you can't make comments. I do. I'm just living through my code. I like to have fun now. I like to play. I'm not going to bend for somebody else's opinion just because they may not like my opinion. I don't care. I create and come from a place, personally myself, from a heavy Queen of Cups, which is a lot of my imagination. A lot of what I want. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm not doing what they want me to do based upon what their move is. I'm just making my move. And then people say, aren't you worried? No, I'm not. I don't care. I don't. Because I've surrendered to whatever's running my reality, and I know it doesn't fail me at this point. I've done this. Have you? Have you done this? That's the question. So that's the message I got for all of you, ladies and gentlemen. We pulled the 7 of clubs, which is the card of today. So get out there and just own your space. Cut out the cancers in your life. Defriend people if you have to. Maybe that's what you need. Clean up your life. Clean up your clutter. Maybe your house has got a lot of clutter in it. The energy's stagnant. What about your mental? Is there stagnation in your mental realm? Maybe you're watching too much influence on the mainstream, or I don't have a TV. Yeah, but you're punching in this.com and that.com and you're getting influenced by something that's the same thing. It's just in a different format. We don't need to argue anymore. We don't need to debate anymore. It's already predestined. It's already scripted. Just go do you. It's just really that simple. And it's beautiful when you can do that. Okay, so let's take this home. Let's end it with this song right here. I like this tune. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. I really appreciate each and every one of you for joining in here for this presentation on Terrence Howard Decoded. I hope you got something out of it. And have fun with life, man. Life's amazing, all right? And if it's not amazing, maybe you need to cut some things in your life to make it amazing, all right? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.